Today we're going to be talking about the CIPER30, and if your controller fails and you cannot get back into it, I'm going to take you through a couple of steps to kind of help you see what's going on with it, if it can be recovered or not. Some of the things that you're going to need for this is actually going to be an Ethernet cable. Is one of the main things you're going to need. You're going to need a USB to, 1 minute here. Okay, you're going to need a USB A to B cable, and that cable is going to look like this. Let me get the picture for you. So it's going to look like this cable here. Everybody can see my screen, okay?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the cable that you're going to need here. And you're also going to need a copy of PuTTY, TerraTerm, or any one of the those type of programs. So you can serial shell into the CIPER30, and you're also going to need a copy of FileZilla as well. Some of the issues that you may run into is when you go to start up your CIPER30, if you're using just basic files as you're going through platform administration. But if there is any updates or anything like that that you have to push into the controller, sometimes those doesn't go um, as good as they should. So you may wind up having issues. I know we had an issue about a week ago with a CIPER30, went through, commissioned everything with 4.8, wound up, well, we left it at 4.7 initially, had some issues, upgraded it to 4.8, wound up having more issues. Then we wound up going here to the distribution file installer and try to wipe it and go back to 4.7, only to find out that it didn't actually wipe the controller cleanly as it was supposed to. And it wound up keeping some files was 4.7, some files was 4.8, and we had a lot of issues with trying to get the station and other things restarted. So this one, it took us a while to figure it out. We got a lot of stuff fixed, but mainly we wound up having to come here to the software manager, and some of the files that was giving us issues, we wind up having to just basically delete them out of this, delete them out, and then go back in and manually reinstall them. And when we did it that way, it came back and started working. So these files that you see here right now, they're saying out of date. This CIPER30 was updated to 4.8. The files that are saying out of date right now, Tritium has released for 4.9 and 4.8 some updated files. And that's what all of these files are right here, minus the Honeywell ones. Those are strictly from Honeywell. But Honeywell basically left a disclaimer: use at your own risk. They have not tested any of these new files out with any of the spider tools or anything like that. So also remember that right now you can only upgrade from 4.7 to 4.8 with the CIPER30s and CIPER50s. You can't go to 4.9. even though Tritium has released a new version of 4.9. I haven't seen anything from Honeywell yet to say that we can use that version on the CIPER30s or the CIPER50s. So going into if you're having an issue, say that you've gone through, you've commissioned your CIPER30. What's going to happen is even after you have done the commission, put the new files in, if you have not rebooted your CIPER30, you won't know that there's an issue until that CIPER30 has been rebooted. When you reboot it, some issues that will come up is you will no longer be able to access it from Workbench trying to get into the platform, or the station would not start. What I'm going to take you through today is showing you how to see what's keeping you from being able to get to your platform. The platform will start in the background, but it just won't let you access it through Workbench. One of the issues that I've had when the CIPER30s first came out, we went through everything, loaded the new files, new firmware, everything into it, and it bricked the controller to where we couldn't get back into it. And that issue is due to Tritium now making sure that everybody's modules are signed. That's what you can see here. Any of the ones that has the little green check marks on them, they actually have a signed signature file that goes with it. The ones that are with the yellow explanation mark there, you can still use the files, but they're giving you a warning stating that there is no signature file for it. And as you can see, a lot of them are like that, and it's primarily a lot of the Honeywell stuff. So if you have your own signature file, Tritium do, if you have your own module that you have created, Tritium do have a process where you can actually go in and create a signature file for that. As of 4.8, it gives you a warning. 4.9, they have moved their signature verification deal up from low to medium. And then as of 4.10, when it's available, those files are going to be moved up to a high deal. There is a process that you can go through. One of the files is going to be a text file that you have to edit, that you can go back and lower that information back down. So in 4.9, you'll be able to lower it back down to low. They don't recommend that, but if you're in a bind, you will be able to do that. And then when 4.10 comes out, the lowest you can lower it back down to is a medium deal. And then at some point in the future, they're not going to be able to allow, they're not going to allow you to change that from high whatsoever. So jumping into this now, the first thing you're going to need to do is use your USB-A to B cable. And they're on the CIPER30 themselves, you're going to have a 4-port switch. And then at the end of it, you're going to have that USB B connection, which is going to be this connection right here. So once you do that, you're gonna have to check to see which COM port that actually came on. So here in your device manager, you can come here to ports, and then again. Here's my USB serial port, and it's going to be on COM 18. So you need to make sure you know what COM port that is. The program that I'm using is going to be Terraturn. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a new connection here. This is the way it's going to start out. Most of the time, any of them always start you with TCP IP. You want to go ahead and switch to serial, and then it's going to give you a drop down box with all of your different ports there. And I don't see my number 18. Let's close out of it. Here's my USB port here. It's COM 18. We're just going to click on that. One of the other things you're going to need to do as well, cancel out of that, is come here under setup. You want to go to serial port, and under here, I can go here, click 18. Your speed that you're going to need is going to be 115200. Data you can leave at 8-bit, priority none, stop bit 1, flow control none. So you can leave all of that the same. You're going to hit OK. And then now I can start my new connection, which I hate when it does this. So once you have that set, you're gonna pull power from your controller, and then you are gonna power it back up. And now you're looking at everything that the Jace, basically Jaces or the CIPER30s or CIPER50 go through a startup process.
Does the CIPER30 have this same way of connecting to it?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The only difference is on the CIPER50, it will be on the front of the controller. And on the CIPER30, it also acts as a, it creates a Ethernet port for you as well, USB wise. And with that port, that IP address cannot be changed or modified in any type of way. So the CIPER50 will have it, and it automatically creates a port for you and assign that port that IP address. So now that we're in on the login deal, this part right here, when you're logging in, is basically logging into your platform. So once you're logged in, these are the options that you're going to have. It's no different than any of the other JACEs that you had the serial shell into. The only difference is before we can move forward with anything else, we do have to come in here, and then you're going to go to option number 4 right here. And from here, we have to enable we're enabling SFTP. And so the port that we want to use is going to be 22. You can make this port whatever you want it to be. I tend to leave it at 22. So the next piece of software we're going to use is going to be this, which is called FileZilla. And basically, when you logging into this, you are going to go through your Ethernet port. So it's going to be just the IP address of your controller. Username is, all of this is still going to be the platform. And hit connect. Okay, so now that you have connected to it, right here, let you know that you have connected successfully. Here is the file structure here for the CIPER30. So the one file you're going to be in is going to be modules. And what I'm going to do is you're going to see these files right here. So I have these module files here in there, and then you're also going to have a .jar.sig file. These are the signature files that goes along with that. So to show you this error, I'm going to wind up taking this file here. And it is easy to put it back because when you go to do that, over here is actually your computer. So I can come here to Honeywell. Here's my workbench. Here's that module folder. And then here's the files right here. So if I'm looking at this one, let's go to an actual file. So we're looking at this Honeywell function block controller here. And if I come down over here, here's the same files right here that is actually on my computer. So for right now, I'm going to take this file here and I'm going to delete it. And now that we have this file deleted, we're going to come back here to this. And I'm going to pull the power on that controller again. And then power it back up. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, of course it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But this is, let me see, function logs. Let's go back to, let me try this one more time. Okay, so as you can see right here, here's the two verification files right here. I just didn't pay attention the first time. So now these are the two files right here that it's saying that it actually has problems with verifying it. So if I come back to here, let's see here.
You can't
So
see
as
your
you can
screen,
see-
Demond.
Hold on for a minute. What about now?
Yep, there we go.
Okay. So now, like I was saying, if I go back into, try to reconnect to this, as you're going to see, it's going to come up and say cannot connect. Ensure server is running on a specified port. And that's the reason is because those signature files is not there anymore. And well, they let me in this time. So, but typically it's not supposed to let you in unless they have changed that now. But that's, it's not supposed to let you in. So let's go back. So they may have changed it because I did put some of the new updates in there. Reason this is, so I know the issue before was that it would not let you into the CIPER30s at all through platform. So Like I say, they may have fixed that to allow you in there, but you're just gonna have some issues with these files right here not being signed for you to work on them. I know in 410, if you don't have these signature files and you try to do it, it will not work. So let's go ahead and go back and put those files back in. So you come here to modules, and it's as simple as taking this file here. And let me see, what was my other one? Function blocks and silk. And then just taking them and dragging them in there. And so now you got those files transferred back in. And now I can come back to here, pull the power one more time. Let's see, put those. Just give me 1 minute, guys. So it's Honeywell function blocks, RT. Just make sure. I'm gonna let that start up. So with this right here, FileZilla, you can run into other issues. I've had as everybody know, with the whole January 1st bug that's in some of the older JASIS here. It's specifically targeting the Niagara 4 and the Niagara 4.1. We're trying to do updates and stuff like that, and the issue is something to do with the time, not specifically the time, but the date and year. If you had anything that actually, as long as you had a JACE or a supervisor with 4.0 or 4.1, if it was, as long as the JACE wasn't rebooted, you're fine. If it rebooted, that error with the time came in and you wind up having issues with getting back into the JACE. You could not access the platform from Workbench or any of that there. So one of the deals that you would have to do is serial shell into it. And option number one, you could come here and change the date and time. You just have to remember to put in the month, date, the month, day, hours, and then minutes. The stuff here is optional, but it will change all of this for you. I've had run into issues where I've had to come in here, enable the FTP because the JACE got stuck and it would not allow me to update the time, date and time on it. So anytime I would make the change, it would say it made the change, but then when I rebooted the JACE, to take it out of a serial shell mode, it would put the date back to current date and I would not be able to get into it. So one of the things I had to do was I had to come over here to serial shell and I had to take one of my distribution files and I had to change that the destination file to a zip file, unzip it, and then let's see here. Unzip that file, and then I had to manually put those files in, and then there's a command that you would have to type in once you log in that is not part of the options that you have, and then force the JACE to reinstall the software back to factory default. And then once you did that, you were able to go in and do the upgrade and everything. So on this one that I was going through, I have made documentation. So if anybody needs it or want a copy of it, just email me and I can forward this documentation to you that has the step-by-step instructions there. And on this one, I've even highlighted, this is the issue that I had at the time right here, while I couldn't get back into it. And then take you through the steps here on where to add the files at and everything. But mine, I think I actually did just break it.
Hey, Demond, what is your email?
You can email me at Demond, DEMOND amcomcontrols.com.
Thank you.
So what I'm doing is when I deleted the files and added it back in, I must have corrupted them some type of way. So the only thing I did is just go to these files here, uninstall them, and then reinstall them again. And then just hit commit. And let's go back and see if my station would actually start this time. And like I said, this process with using a serial shell can be used with any Jace, any CIPER30, the Edge 10 devices, CIPER30s, to get in there to be able to look at it. And it's a little bit further for you can do troubleshooting as well. I use it a lot to basically have it to tell me basically what's wrong or what issues I may have with it. And then that way I can, I know exactly what's going on. Even when I'm looking at trying to warranty it, I always serial shell into it and just let it reboot, and so I can see if there's any issues that may be due to the platform not starting properly. So the CIPER30s, if you know, the stations do start up. It takes a while, just like any Jace. CIPER50s, they are more on the edge controller side, so it takes a matter of seconds for your station to start back up. So if you have it, if it's you have to reboot it for any issues, at most you may be down 15 to 20 seconds, and your controller is started back up, and anything that you have on inputs, outputs, that's already started back up as well. Have anybody used a lot of the CIPER30s, or have you used any of them yet?
I've done more work with the 50s. I've actually getting my feet wet on 30s today. I've got a couple to install.
Okay.
I actually had a few questions for you. I was just going to wait till the end.
Okay. I'm just waiting for this to come up. So if you want to go ahead and ask them now, you can.
Well, just for one, with the, it looks like we have what, 4 different Ethernet ports on that. Does it matter which one you're plugging into from the start?
No, it doesn't really matter. I've been plugged into port 1, port 2, any one of the ports, and I've been able to still access it.
Okay, it doesn't really matter.
No.
And then another question I had was on your universal inputs, how you have, 3 or 4 of them that are universal input, or they can be your analog outs. Can those also serve as a binary output, or is it only universal in and analog out?
Yeah, any of the universal inputs, or even the ones that's the universal input / analog outputs, you can make those as binary.
Binary outputs or just binary
Oh, I'm
in?
sorry. Yeah, no, it's just, I'm sorry, binary inputs. And so down at the bottom, where you have the DOs, those are pretty much for your binary output. Anything past 6, if you need more than that, then you're going to be going into the expansion modules.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to double check on that because
Yeah.
I'm going to need 2 expansion boards, what I'm working on today.
Okay.
I was just kind of crossing my fingers. Maybe those analog outs could transfer over to a binary out.
And that would be nice if they would have just made them universal inputs and then universal outputs, and you can switch
Right.
back and forward.
Right,
So
but no worries. I was just curious on that. And then one more question is that your dip switches, the handoff autos, do those have to be programmed to run, or do those
no,
just work?
so they work right out the box when you add them. As you adding those in. So if you add analog output or digital output, as soon as you put that into your program, if that switch is flipped, you see it right away.
What about on the CIPER30s as far as your touch screen, how you have the, well, not the touch screen, but the, you have the actual screen with the little dial? Does that have to be configured to work, or?
Yeah, so it comes with some stuff out of the gate. You will have to set up a password when you do it, because when you first try to use it, it's going to come back and say that it's password protected. There is no password, no default password. So it goes off of all your user accounts, but it will not use the user password that you set for Workbench. It's a 4-digit numeric password that you have to set for it. So once you do that and you can get into it, you can leave what's there, or you can actually delete that stuff. Some of the stuff you can delete, and then you can add different folders for what you want in there.
Gotcha. Does that have to be done on when you commission it, or can you do that after the fact?
You can do it after the fact.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So as you see, I got my station back to running here. And so the only issue is, like I said, I corrupted those files or changed something that I shouldn't have. And then if you just come here, you look at what the errors are, either in the when you're first starting it up and it fails, to tell you what the issue is, and you can just come back to your software manager and then just click on those modules and then tell it to reinstall itself or delete it and then uninstall it. And like I said, the other issue that we had was that we were at a 4.7 install, and we had upgraded it to 4.8, had ran into a lot of issues, clean dissed it to go back to factory default, but for some reason it kept some of the modules in there for 4.8, and we just started having a lot of issues. So got rid of it and then reinstalled it, and it went to the correct version, and then we was able to get the station back to running and get the CIPER30 to do whatever it needs to do. So also for your question, when you was talking about the HOA switches for the CIPER30s, there is a way that you actually can go in that switch from auto, whether if they are turning something off or putting it in hand to turn it on. You can set up alarms to be generated so it can be, so your customer or yourself can be notified that somebody has put that switch in hand.
Oh.
So that is one of the things that they are monitored. And even on the CIPER50s, if you use the expansion modules for those, there's two different sets. You can get them with the handoff auto on them, or you can get them without. And if you get them with handoff autos, those are monitored. All right, guys. And if anybody else have any other questions, I can answer them. If not, we are here at the end of our journey here. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Email address is Demond, DEMOND, @amcomcontrols.com, and I can help you out as best I can.
Great. Thanks, Demond.
All right,
Thanks,
thank
Demond.
you.
Hey, Demond, I got one more question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on your network, on your workbench, if you've got I had a card that CIPER30 that died on me. And so can you delete the platform and the station and everything off of your network, or because I just kind of labeled it as dead, but I'm not sure how to get it off of there, or do I just have to assign another device that same IP to take it over?
You can assign another one the same IP to take that over. Are you talking about on the CIPER30 or your CIPER50?
This is on a CIPER50.
Okay. And you're talking about, oh, so if you pull in an IP device or something into your network?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you should be able to set that same, if you got another device, if you set it the same, it should pick it back up. If not, then yeah, you would have to delete that off your network and then reassign.
How do you do that? How do you delete it off your network?
So you're talking about in the
Yep. Yeah.
in the platform itself?
Yeah, like if you wanted to delete that in that IPC station that you're on right now, just completely.
Okay, so two ways you can do it is if you go to your platform, you can come here to Station Copier and just click here and then hit delete. It should delete it there. I've had some instance where I tried to do that and it has locked up on me sometimes, or it's gone a lot longer than what it should have. So the only other way that I know of is if you let me see, if we come into here, you may have to search around for it, but you can get to that station file through here. I would have to play around with it because they've hidden a lot of this stuff now. So I have to play around with it, but you can go through FileZilla and get to it and delete that file manually if you need to.
Probably just easier to give another device the IP though, and just to get it off of there, right?
Yeah.
Simplicity there. Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Demond. Appreciate the help.
No problem. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and call it the end for this.